Start whenever, mate. Just need to remember our captain's... Who did I captain Saturday? Oh.
Hello.
Yeah, sorry.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Planet SkyFF, the world where everything revolves around £50,000. Do you want to do the intro? Do you?
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Planet SkyFF, the world where everything revolves around £50,000. My name's James.
There we go.
Was it all right?
That was decent.
You're not meant to do my name's Suj.
It was decent. My name's Suj. We are into another week, James, and Sky Fantasy Football. Off we go. You did all right this week.
Yeah, it went a bit over the top. I bought 4 Manchester City players on Sunday, which I'd say it was over the top. It became kind of part of a plan because of a couple of things. One of which was Emi Martinez, kind of as a contingency, deciding to buy Edison, which I've been here before. I'm on 6-Man City now. And the reason I'm on 6-Man City now as well is just looking ahead at the calendar furthermore because of the October fixtures and stuff. I'm literally just believing that Thiago Silva, Erling Haaland and Mo Salah after this Luton-West Ham single game day basically covers me all the way up to October the 22nd, bar
Nottingham Forest.
Yeah. Which is part of the plan to obviously go and invest probably in Taiwo Awoniyi come October the 1st when Forest host, not October the 1st, sorry, Monday the 18th of September when Forest host Burnley, where there's that 5-for-1 jump on and jump back off. That's part of the plan. So I decided that it worked in a unique way where suddenly it was on and a little bit more clarity. Also going into game week 1, there were things that we didn't have then, such as Ruben Diaz starting, Josko Gvardiol starting, a bit more clarity in terms of what's happening defensively and stuff. So there felt justification for me to go in. I did it. I made 4 transfers. I sold Rashford, Saliba, Martinez and Richarlison. I think quite rightly had enough of, and despite the fixtures, made a call to go, no, need to get rid of this now. And I invested all of it into Manchester City and bought Edison, Diaz, Gvardiol and Julian Alvarez.
So 3 defensive.
Yep. 3 defensive. Very nearly nice little clean sweep at the weekend, but of course it only takes 1 shot on target for Manchester City to concede a goal, as we all know. But I think other than Edison, I was pretty confident there'd be tears for all the others in the game, and there was, in fairness. So they've all actually returned. Sure, it's only 5 for Diaz and Gvardiol, and it's only 5 for Alvarez. But they've all chipped in with a little something to start with there.
It was a 4-5 week plan for you anyway.
100%,
so,
yeah.
I don't think you can judge it too early. I, similar to you, went in on 2-Man City. I just didn't go as crazy. So how are you lined up now in terms of what were your returns at the weekend and stuff? Let's get them out there.
So Friday night, captain's Thiago Silva for the 20. Obviously, I have Colwill as well for the 9 points. Was a passing tier this time, just about. He'd been, was it 54, 55?
He's on the nose, 60 this time.
He's 60 this time, but at least he got there. But I don't think it's going to happen too often for him. And I think obviously Benoit Badiashil's not going to be available this week, but it might change circumstance after the international break. So I'm very, very cautious with him at the moment. Saturday I decided to cap Rashford, which obviously did return double 14. That was the right choice over Lewis Dunk, got me 3. William Saliba got me 4 points. Richarlison got me 1, so it was the right call. Sunday obviously captained Haaland. I've got the 6-Man City and also have Mo Salah's assist as well. The other returnee for me, Nakamba, 1 point. So 101 for the week. Now 5 transfers used, up to 12k. Which, I mean, the overall's kind of irrelevant at the moment. It's more when I look in mini leagues and I look at that, I'm 6 out of 29, 6 out of 29, 24 out of 84, 31 out of 111. It feels like I'm top 3rd.
Okay.
When I look around where I am in other mini leagues, because we know there'll be people out there who've used like 15 transfers so far. And
but the mini leagues are not not those people.
No, the mini leagues do not have those
the real people.
Correct. So I feel like I'm, let's say 30th out of 100, if you will, or 300th out of 1,000, or 3,000 out of 10,000. That's probably where I feel like I am.
Out of a million would you be? 300.
I'd be 300,000. That's irrelevant.
I'm not too far behind. I mean, there's only 2 points between us. I had a decent week, 109 points this week. And I've used one less transfer now, in that I used 2 transfers over the weekend. But again, tier points all round really this week for me, other than one player in my squad who's not that marvellous really, to be honest with you. But Alisson picked up shot tier, save tier, I should say. Save tier,
That's a miracle.
Yeah, saved shots tier.
Yeah.
Did Alisson. Dunk was a disappointment, but I couldn't care less about Lewis Dunk because I'll happily take that minus.
Yeah, but it's exactly what we spoke about with the guarantee about him. Well, I mean, he had passing tier at half time, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
What did he finish
They
on?
dominated it.
118.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I had on the Friday I had Jackson and Colwill.
It's very unlucky not to hit shots here as well, because obviously he had the header cleared off the line.
Yeah.
So
I had Colwill and Jackson, our captain Jackson. So pretty much of a muchness with you. I gave Bukayo Saka one last roll of the dice as captain over Saliba on the Saturday, knowing that I was probably going to sell him on the Sunday for a Man City player. He talked me into actually steaming into City. So I got returns out. Saliba was just a pass tier, but Saka's goal and that penalty also pushed him into a shot tier as well, was particularly nice. I mentioned Colwill. On Bissouma, another tier. Albeit this time just the tackle tier, but he got a yellow card.
Yeah.
But it's pass tier, tackle tier. It could be at any given moment anything. He's fine. Like he's in there. I feel like he's going to stick along.
I did say to you on this pod last week.
You got 3 tackles, I think.
4. I did say to you you need 4 for tier 1.
Passes
33.
Low.
I did say to you on this pod last week that I thought that he probably wouldn't hit passing tier in that particular fixture. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't hit it at Burnley either. Because Burnley are a side that want to control the ball as well. But yeah, he's ticking in there, isn't he? If you look at bonus points at the moment, you look at sort of midfielders have picked up, say, more than 5 tier points so far. I think Bissouma's on 7. It's only him, and I think
Rodri.
Johan Vissa's got a couple of shot tiers, maybe.
Okay.
I mean, that's sort of like that lower end of price kind
point,
of under 8 million.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had Rashford as well. I picked up his 7 points on Saturday. I made 2 transfers. So I sold Saka and I sold Rashford. Rashford I didn't need for captaincy for quite a while. Their fixtures get a little bit harder, and also Manchester United are a little bit rubbish at the moment, James. Saka I didn't need for captaincy moving forward because I had Saliba. I don't intend on captaining Saliba on... when did they play Fulham? Saturday?
You've just played Fulham.
Man United on the Sunday. I have no intention of captaining Saliba in that game. I'll probably go Alisson.
I like the way it's just say, who am I going to go?
Yeah, it's a fair shout. But I think Alisson over Saliba. I think Alisson's more likely to keep a clean sheet against Villa, although they're both unlikely to keep a clean sheet. I'll have to see. I bought 2 City, unlike your 4 City. Diaz was a shoo-in.
You're on 3, aren't you?
4 now.
You got Alvarez as well?
Yes. I bought Alvarez and Diaz. Alvarez was easy because I can move off him in a few weeks. But the 2 or 3 moves that I've got lined up now, I need Nakamba for captaincy on Friday. He can go. And one of the Man City will be able to go eventually as well. And Colwill. Because I've got Jackson sitting there, I don't necessarily need Colwill. But after a little bit of time, I'm not going to need any Chelsea captaincy. So Mo Salah at some point is still on radar. I think I want him for the West Ham game, which is still 2 or 3 weeks away now, isn't it? 3 games away.
Would you not think of buying him Sunday in your circumstance?
I have thought about him.
We should add.
I have thought about him.
Should add, at time recording 10:15 on Wednesday morning, Jan Ogafjortov has tweeted this morning saying that he expects Mo Salah to join the Saudi Pro League this week. I'd be staggered. I'd be staggered.
Then I won't be buying him on Sunday,
no,
mate.
you won't, and I'll be selling him. And at the moment, interestingly, Mo Salah is the only player I own on Sunday.
Wow.
I know where I'd go. It'd be very straightforward.
Where would you go?
I'd go to Saka.
Okay.
Purely because for me in that circumstance now, I'd be looking for coverage for captaincy Sunday the 3rd and Sunday the 24th, and the only one that's going to cover me for both of them is Arsenal. So it would be in for Saka. I obviously wouldn't be able to go back to Saliba because I'm in a 5-3-2 at the moment. So yeah, it would be definitely Saka, and then go and captain him in the home fixtures against Manchester United and Tottenham respectively. It'd be bad for the game, I think. Yeah. Having lost Kane, and it goes for most fantasy formats. Having lost Kane from the game, lose Salah as well. Yeah, from a price perspective, it wouldn't be great, I don't think. You want him about to make this as awkward as possible.
I'm still looking at Awoniyi but I'll go in on the night because I can come off Jackson, for example, after they play Bournemouth.
You were speaking last week about skipping Forest Burnley and just going into Brentford, right?
But Awoniyi is in good form, and if I can daisy chain it and I'll get 2 fixtures out of him, Burnley and Brentford, and maybe still, if I need to, hold him for the Luton game, I don't mind that too much.
Okay.
He's cheap, right? So Awoniyi is definitely a consideration, and Bomo's still a consideration for me. If I decide that I want to come off an Akamba and go straight to somebody on the Saturday this week, then I think I'd go to Mbomo with Bournemouth, Everton, Forest, Burnley as 4 of the next 6, and quite a few, 3 of those are home games. I don't mind that. 5.4.
Oh, really?
Gazillion million. Yeah, plenty.
Does that get you Nakamba to Salah?
No, I don't think it will quite get me that far.
7-1, 12-1.
I don't know if I'd do that, you know.
Must do. He does. Nakamba
I've
to
just
Salah.
assumed Salah's crazy money.
It's 11.5. So you could. Nakamba to Salah. I don't think there's anything to think about. If Salah stays, that's the one for you,
Still
isn't
leave me $500,000 for a packet of Walkers afterwards and a Mars bar.
But if you think you're going to go to Salah on Sunday the 24th anyway, just do it this week, surely.
Need to think about
That's
that.
going to give you a better captaincy for this Sunday, no?
Yeah, it would do,
for
sure. And the other thing is Newcastle are starting to come into a really good run of fixtures from the Brentford game, Brentford, Sheffield United, Burnley, West Ham, Palace. And I want some coverage from there. I'm just not 100% sure where I will go with it, to be honest with you. My plan's very loose at the moment.
Just remember that with that Newcastle-Brentford game. Obviously, if Newcastle play in the Champions League on the Tuesday afterwards, which would be Tuesday the 19th, the Newcastle-Brentford fixture reverts to 8 o'clock on Saturday the 16th, which would leave Bournemouth-Chelsea most likely as a single game day, although the original Premier League announcement did suggest that the Everton-Arsenal fixture was subject to change. That's the 5:30 fixture on Saturday the 16th. So it's not impossible that could switch and become Sunday 17th. It feels very late notice for that sort of thing to happen, but I did say in their original announcement it would be subject to change, subject to Champions League fixtures afterwards. So Newcastle surge, obviously if that goes on a Saturday, then I would think Brighton and Brentford, you just forget, and then Sheffield United Sunday 24th. And this has been part of my thinking as well with, City. I could have, say, Edison for Sheffield United that's gone, Fulham, West Ham, Forest, and then go Sugar. I want to move. I want to get some Newcastle now. Maybe Nick Pope. Now the argument about that would be we should have just bought Nick Pope on Sunday, and I agree with that. So my intent...
I don't know. Sheffield United is a Sunday. It's a fair entry point.
No, but the argument would probably
over Edison, you mean?
Just have got Nick Pope this Sunday gone against Liverpool.
Nah,
would have possibly been the argument.
Edison with Sheffield United away, I know they didn't keep a clean sheet. Fulham, Forest, West Ham, Wolves up to Forest. The home games I'd bank as clean sheets, whereas I think Pope's got harder fixtures, mate.
It's a good run of fixtures out for Newcastle you could say from the Brentford game,
but Sheffield United for sure.
But there's no captaincy there, mate.
No.
Well, I say there's no captaincy. There's a choice, but I always think there's a better one. Now, you might look at, say, Pope at Sheffield United, I think great, but from a transfer perspective, I'm pretty happy with Thiago Silva away to Bournemouth as long as he's still available, for example. Similarly, that day they go to Sheffield United. Currently, I'd have Salah at home to West Ham, or if I don't, then, as I said, I'm going Saka, and it'd be Saka at home to Tottenham. That's fine. I've also got Lewis Dunk contingency that day at home to Bournemouth on Sunday the 24th as well. So Newcastle would be a want, Suj. It wouldn't be a need.
Yeah, 100%. But the bottom line is I think there's points in there.
But you've also got the Champions League starting in there as well.
So
that's quite important. The draw for that's tomorrow afternoon. And once that locks in, we can be certain on certain fixtures like Newcastle, Brentford, and also gives a better idea to have a look and say, oh, right, they're playing 3 games in 6 days. This could be a rotation headache. Something like Isak and Wilson, if they're both fit, they're going to share minutes, right? If one of them gets injured, I'm very interested in getting the other one all of a sudden. That's how it feels at the moment. So in Newcastle, I'll probably overlook, I think, is the plan at the moment.
Should we cover off captaincy for this coming weekend? So, my point, but Friday is quite an important day because obviously we do get the Champions League draw in the morning. So we will then know.
Champions League draws Thursday night.
Oh, is it Thursday night? I thought it was Friday morning. We'll know then by the end of Friday/Saturday morning. Hope you're getting the fixture planning spreadsheet sorted in the morning for the patrons, James. Whether or not that game for Newcastle has moved or not, and also any of the other European games that need to move. And we will also know that the transfer window has closed, kind of. Doesn't help that Saudi Arabia is still open for another week.
About another 3 weeks, I think, isn't it?
Is it the 7th? I thought it was only a week, but I could be wrong.
It's long enough anyway.
Yeah, I could be wrong. So on the whole, we'll kind of know what's happening with that as well. So I'm keeping my powder dry for a little bit. Saudi Arabia transfer window dates.
20th of September.
Quite a way. Portugal's 22nd of September. I can't imagine Sporting Lisbon are coming in.
Sporting Lisbon are not coming in for Mo Salah.
So yeah, captaincy for this weekend, James. Who have you got for Friday? Is it just going to be a case of marvellous?
Marvellous, not so marvellous. Yes,
I mean, you know what? He's three tackles in 2 games. In each of those 2 games, he's 1 tackle away from us saying, "What an enabler!" You know. So,
yeah.
What did we expect?
It's Nakamba for me on Friday night, and then it's move. I've left with what I've done intentionally 0.8 in the bank. Obviously 0.7 of which I intend to use to move Nakamba to Bissouma on Saturday.
That's a good move.
So, yeah, Nakamba captaincy, no thought really to add anything else. I think I can probably preempt a question that I'm fairly certain is in the Twitter questions, such as, should we buy anything if we have nothing for Friday night as ever? Think about going earlier. And I think that this would be a no. I think it would be a skip. Luton have good fixtures for a while, but I'm sitting here going, look, I'm just going to move Nakamba on straight away is the plan. And in West Ham's case, sure, great. You know, they probably are best for Friday night. There's a little bit of doubt in our minds now with the signing of Kudus and what the potential impact is. Maybe not so much on Friday night, but upcoming weeks afterwards. Yeah. So something like a Ben Rama, who obviously didn't start at Brighton, if he's in the team on Friday, you might go, oh yeah, Ben Rama, but that's possibly a problem waiting to happen. And West Ham do have Manchester City at home and Liverpool away in their 2 fixtures afterwards. Yes, sure, then there's Sheffield United at home, but then there's Newcastle at home, Villa away. It's still a tough run. You're doing well, absolutely, admittedly, Suj. But no, I wouldn't be. I'd let it go.
Yeah, I'd let it go as well.
I'd let it go. I think best shout, genuinely, would be Jared Bowen.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I'm in agreement with James on that one. Saturday, Norwegian.
Yeah, I mean, I literally can't see any reason why not. 3 midweek beforehand. I literally can see no reason why he starts. The only debate would be if we should start considering Rodri as a better asset. No, be Haaland captain. The thing is, and I can imagine this sort of thing will start ticking in people's minds where you go, hang on a minute. So Haaland so far this season's got what? 25 points.
Yeah.
Rodri's got what? 38.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, people going to start thinking about it and going, what? The problem is, you know that at some point, Haaland's going to have that mega, and you don't want to miss it. So, no, be Haaland captain for me Saturday. I think any alternative, looking at the fixtures, would be another Manchester City player in any case anyway. So, yeah, what, Brighton, Newcastle.
You don't think Thiago Silva... You haven't got attacking Chelsea. I've got Jackson.
You could make that case, but then Awenyi, he's scoring for fun, isn't he? And no, Haaland Saturday, mate.
Yeah, agreed. Sunday? Like I said, I've only got Addison
it's
as it stands at the moment. I've got Saliba as well.
And I think because it's quite open, I'd say that like whatever you've got is probably going to be fine because I think expectations would be quite low. So I think with the fixtures, my honest opinion would be that best calls would probably be Salah or Saka, depending on your preference on the fixtures. Liverpool obviously play Villa, Arsenal play Manchester United. I think because those 2 fixtures, the preference would be with the attacking players rather than defence. So certain weeks like that night at Palace, you know, Saliba versus Saka feels like more of an argument. This fixture, no, I think more Saka. Similarly for Liverpool, offensive players over defensive players because Villa do regularly score in games. So I think Salah or Saka would be best calls. Most people will have one or the other, or maybe even both. arguably preference would maybe be with Saka. I'll be on Salah. That's all I've got at the moment. As I said, if a deal did go through and he left, I'd buy Saka. So that's what I'm doing either way, one way or the other. But I'm pretty sure Salah will stay. I'd be staggered, to tell you the truth.
I wouldn't, to be honest with you, just because of the amount of money that's being discussed nowadays. The more I look at it, I may just leave Salah till the West Ham game, because that's on the 24th of September, James, which is 4 days after the Saudi Arabia transfer window closes. So I may just hold off.
Surely they're not. The thing is, though...
What am I going to miss? I'm going to miss Villa and Wolves, and I'm not going to captain him at Wolves, Mo Salah, because I'm likely to captain Erling Haaland away at West Ham.
Yeah, get that.
So I think I might leave Salah and revisit it on the 24th for that game against West Ham, when I will need it for captaincy.
Okay, I can't. If Salah doesn't go this week, I can't believe he goes in the upcoming weeks.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point in being rumour mill mongers, speculators. We'll see how it plays out.
One of the things I need to think about on Sunday is the unlikely scenario. But what happens if, say, Salah's a sub? They just jump off it.
Yeah.
Straight to Saka.
I'm not so. I know you. Okay, what are you looking at with Saka? Because Man United are rubbish at home, and you think that he'll do bits against Tottenham at home.
Yeah, but that's
Man United, Tottenham, City, Chelsea. Four of the next 6.
That's the 2 days I'm going to want immediate cover for. Is
as captain.
Yeah, and Arsenal's the only other one who plays on both of those, Sunday the 3rd and Sunday the 24th.
Yeah, I mean, the alternative is to go sideways.
Home fixtures for Arsenal.
Yeah, I'd put them as favourites for both of those ties as it stands at the moment, but I just don't think they'll go particularly big. Look, if it's a problem and you're making a transfer to fix the problem, I can understand it, but I don't think it's going to be a problem for you.
This time last week, there was a lot of should I sell Saka?
Yeah, and we all did. And that's why I'm a bit... Oh, you didn't sell him?
I didn't have him in the first place.
Oh, fine.
I went
okay.
Saliba for the start.
That makes a lot of sense. For me, it's not a case of I wouldn't go back so quickly after hokey-cokeying off him. So I'm not too fussed about not having Salah.
The thing is as well, if you did go back in, like you could have the 4 fixtures, United, Everton, Tottenham, Bournemouth, and then you can move that on to your Forest, Brentford or Fulham, Chelsea afterwards, right? So there'll be 4 for 2s there and stuff like that, which again, when you add in captaincies, effective 5s, maybe 6s. I mean, if the Everton Arsenal, if he did go Saka, and we would know before this weekend, if the Everton Arsenal fixture did move to Sunday the 17th, then I'd be very interested in captaining Saka against Everton rather than Thiago Silva at Bournemouth, for example. So there might even be an extra one in there, subject to what happens with the Champions League draw. But I really don't think that Everton Arsenal fixture will move. Just one note on Sunday as well. A team that's probably not under consideration, but it is obviously an awkward day on Sunday, is Crystal Palace. Obviously play Wolves is the other fixture. We haven't even mentioned it. And the defensive guys, your likes of Anderson, who's returned 25 points so far, which includes obviously clean sheet, passing tier and shot tier in day 1. Passing tier against Arsenal and a goal against Brentford in game week 3. What's interesting about that is it's a long way away, but Crystal Palace play Tottenham at home on Friday the 27th of October. This is the last entry point for Palace. If you did want Palace all the way now for Friday the 27th, you probably won't, because remember Tottenham host Fulham on the Monday before as well. But if you do think, sugar, it's Palace, this is your entry point. It's this week. And one interesting one I was looking at, Suj, was actually looking at Lewis Dunk, who's obviously, amazing in the game. But let's say you really didn't fancy sort of a Salah or a Saka on Sunday. Move off Dunk after the Brighton game Sunday. Captain, let's just say Anderson. Let's use him as an example. It could be Eze for preference or Mark Gay. Wolves at home. Villa away is not magic. Fulham at home's okay. United away is not magic. Forest at home's okay. Newcastle away is not magic. Then you got the Tottenham home game. So there's 7 fixtures there, which could, in theory, include 2 captaincies, maybe. And Dunk's fixtures in between are United away, Bournemouth at home, Villa away, Liverpool at home, and Manchester City away. It's just something there maybe to think about. It won't be for me, I think. But it's something maybe to think about. And then you'd come back into Dunk in time for Fulham at home, which is a Sunday fixture as well. Something to think about.
I think you're right. There's definitely a consideration here. I need to spend some time now looking at my squad and then deciding who is a staple.
Dunk, I just want to leave, to be totally honest.
Yeah, I agree with you. But you can argue that case that there's definitely 20, 30 points upside in the Palace player over that period based on the fixtures that
it might be the sort of one where, and it has been speculation around Anderson Gay as well, but saying that Salah's situation maybe is a sub, and I go, I'm not sure I really want to keep him, that I look at that sort of move and go, sugar, do you know what, Anderson at home to Wolves, there's every chance of passing to and a clean sheet. I might stick it on him here and hold that through. There are escapes beforehand as well. You could even use it as a 3-for-1, so you could take Wolves captaincy, Villa away, Fulham at home, and then go back to Dunk for the Bournemouth at home fixture on the Sunday, and you just miss Dunk away to Manchester United. That would be an effective 4-for-1 if you want to use it for captaincy. And of course, it doesn't have to be an Anderson. Eze is obviously reasonably priced and essentially roughly the same price as Lewis Dunk as well. Eze is 8.2. Yeah.
If Lewis Dunk's getting 5 points per game, you need a clean sheet every other game to make it worthwhile to match him, assuming you're not getting any past tiers. Clean sheet 5 points, 2 or 3 points for a tier. He's almost guaranteed a tier every game. And if Lewis Dunk does pick up a clean sheet in even one of those games, you're automatically not going to be worth it. It's tight. You need them to return every other game.
In this game, right? And what we've kind of said with Dunk, right, it's a 9-player game. But if I said to you now, Bournemouth score at Brighton on that Sunday, which is the second of the 5 fixtures for Brighton, which is on Sunday the 24th, and you could make a case to captain him that day, by the way. Brighton are at home to Bournemouth. You got Liverpool against West Ham, Arsenal against Tottenham, Newcastle go to Sheffield United. Like Lewis Dunk as a contingency for that day, for example, is absolutely fine for a captaincy. But if I said to you now, right, Bournemouth score at Brighton in that fixture, what do we actually expect from Dunk from those other 4? United away, Villa away, Liverpool at home, City away. How many of them do we actually think he hits passing in?
Most, I would have said. Definitely a couple of tier 2s, maybe a couple of tier 1s, or miss out on one of the games or something like that.
I think, subject to how the game's going, he could still hit passing tier in all of them. That even includes Manchester City away. Yeah,
which is why if your Palace or whoever you're going to doesn't hit any tiers, they need a clean sheet every other game. It's talking myself out of it.
Yep.
To be honest with you. Let's talk about some of the fixtures. Do you want to rattle off who did and didn't set the world alight with their tiers?
Yeah, so Ben Chilwell pressed the wrong button on his PlayStation as covered yesterday. But every single Chelsea player did return. Whatever you went for captaincy, you got something, although Enzo Fernandez owners are probably the most frustrated. He did just get into the passing at 60, but was also booked as well. His positioning would be a concern from a Sky Fantasy perspective, because we have to remember playing Luton Friday night, and you can say, oh, he's hit passing tier again. Yeah, but in that position, he's just got in there. Same number as Gallagher, same number as Caicedo, 5 less than Gusto, same as Colwell. You've got 4 Chelsea players landed on exactly 60 and just got into the passing. I'd be a little bit concerned. Not that I think that's a come off. If you're on, it's absolutely fine. But I think you probably now want to kind of ready to pounce mode, I would suggest. I think you're probably fine up to this period, probably even carrying all the way through to Saturday the 7th when Chelsea go to Burnley, and then looking to move it on from there maybe. But I think the idea of him maybe being a definitive hold maybe for the whole season might need a reassessment. I'm not unhappy that I'm not on him at the moment, put it that way. Disasai 87 passes, Thiago Silva 97. There's obviously shots here for Sterling and Jackson. Amari Bell and Tahith Chong in the tackles. Just an interesting one. Kaminsky, I was quite impressed with him in goal. And it might be one to come back for, because that Luton-Burnley game eventually will land as probably a single game day in a midweek. Not for ages, I don't think. But it might be when it comes back round, you go, actually, I just want to dip into the keeper. He looked all right, what I've seen of him so far, Kaminsky. Mickey van der Ven, the only Tottenham player in the passes at Bournemouth on Saturday lunchtime, and comfortably as well, 69 to Christian Romero's 37. That might have gone a little bit hidden because Romero hit 5 tackles. Did you know that neither Romero or van der Ven have committed a foul yet in the Premier League this season?
Wow.
I know, astonishing.
Van der Ven I'm cool with, but Romero... What?
So Van der Ven put some hefty challenges in at Fulham last night and definitely conceded some fouls last night, I can assure you.
I love how Bissouma is the third lowest scoring Tottenham player for points after Sonny and Richarlison, yet he's still the one that I would buy.
Yes. Maddison doesn't feel right for this yet, I don't think. And Bissouma just gives you... I think that's the enabler. I said this last week a lot, that I think our requirement for this 6.6, 6.7 kind of midfielder / defender, I'm not convinced it's necessary, actually. And I think just that little bit more for Bissouma might be worthwhile. I think what we've probably seen now, though, in the last couple is a little bit more inconsistencies in the sense... To be honest, 33 passes at Bournemouth. I didn't think he'd hit it this week, but that's much lower than we would imagine. We should also say he went off with 20 minutes to go, but he's still getting nowhere near the tier. That's clear. He says, although, look at Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, so this is interesting. So Højbjerg come on a 60-minute mark. So he only played half hour, completed more passes than Bissouma.
Wow.
So maybe Bissouma would have hit it because... in that last 20 minutes, Tottenham just pissed around with the ball for fun.
Right.
So actually, he might have actually hit it in that last sort of 20-minute spell or so. Because for Højbjerg to got 40 in half hour or so, suggests that Bissouma probably wouldn't have been more away. Højbjerg's completing well over a pass a minute there, right?
Yeah.
So if Bissouma had an extra 20s in the 50s, he might have actually been quite close.
Game state 2-0 up, just bossing it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
He probably he did 33 and 74. There's no way. The way that last 20 minutes was, actually, he might have actually ended up hitting it in the end. So bear that in mind. I can't give any credibility to going Sonny at the moment. So just literally none. I'm watching him again. I was at Craven Cottage last night. He can't beat a man. He just constantly refused to take Kenny Tetty on. He kept looking at him going, I don't think I can beat you. He kept coming back inside. From the Arsenal-Fulham game, passing for Saliba and White very comfortably. Partey and Kivior just short. Rice 68 and 5 tackles won as well. He's really beginning to stand up.
I think at 8.1, I would love to own him in any fantasy format just because if you ask my children, of which I have 2, they say I have 3 sons. They say, Dad, your 3 sons, me, him and Declan Rice. I'd love to own him.
We discussed this in pre-season. He's very conceivable to go like Rice, Bissouma, Rodri, maybe even add Enzo Fernandez to that. You've got a really nice 4 midfielders. None of them are scoring goals.
Well,
not regularly
Rice,
anyway.
Against
Rodri's got 2, but let's be real.
Rice against Palace was 55 passes, which is 5 short, and they played half an hour with 10 men.
He'd hit it.
No tackles or shots in that game, but he would have hit passing tier, at least tier 1, and maybe even sneaked in a tier 2. So he is, really interesting now. I think he'll pick up 1 or 2 tiers in most games, will Declan Rice. 8.1, is he a little bit pricey for just tiers? But if you want the goals and assists for Martinelli's, Odegaard's and Saka's, you're paying 10s and 10.5s, James. So it's quite a big jump up. I like Declan Rice. Where would you rate Declan Rice versus, say, Saliba, for example? Because now you're talking more closer to the price bracket. It's still 9 million versus 8.1.
It depends on the fixtures and your confidence in Arsenal clean sheets, I think.
He's on radar anyway.
If the confidence is there in the clean sheets, then the preference would still be for Saliba, personally.
Yeah.
If it's not, then... I mean, look, Declan's capable of both there, right?
Yep.
Of passing and tackles.
And shot tiers. He's let him fly a little bit. Little bit.
You never expect
That's
that.
the cherry on the cake.
You never expect
It's not the icing.
No. 8 saves again for Bernd Leno, who is on 19 points already, and he's an interesting one to consider at kind of just set and forget, really, keeper-wise, 6.8. But with the caution, I said yesterday on our FPL show that Paulinho is the best ball-winning midfielder in the Premier League. Most of you who've played Sky regularly will probably share that opinion. 6 tackles in his first start back at Arsenal. And despite the 90 minutes, my heart dropped a little bit when I saw he was in the Fulham team last night. best player on the pitch again by a distance. Absolutely brilliant. He's been linked with Bayern Munich this morning. I think
60 million.
He solves problems for the likes of Manchester United or Liverpool at the moment, as it might not be their ideal because he's late 20s, but what a footballer. And should Fulham lose him, that would be a major, major blow. They are one team with him and they are one team without him. He's 7.9. There isn't an entry point particularly to consider at the moment, but it might be one to think about come that Chelsea single game day on Monday the 2nd. Shots for Saka, Martinelli, Odegaard in the game as well. Not a lot from Brentford Palace, as we'd expect. It was passing for Pinnock and Collins, which is probably quite surprising considering Brentford were leading for a good hour of this contest. Anderson Gay just under 40 for the passes. Check Decore actually on 48. Another 7 saves for Jose Sarr. Everton can't hit cow's arse with a banjo at the moment. There were tackles for Patterson, Decore, Onana, João Gomez in that game. Arnaut Danjuma played through the middle, had 3 shots on target. He do have a new signing in, Suj Beto from Udinese, confirmed for about £25 million. There was a nice...
I saw his interview. I need to ask you, man. I've
not seen it.
Well, I saw the headline grabbing quotes of "I've been following Everton for a long time and a club I respect a lot." I'm like, bruv, you've probably never heard of Everton Football Club, man.
If he'd have been following Everton for a long time, there's no way he'd have gone there, mate.
As a club I respect. I'm like, bruv.
He'd have gone, I'm not going there.
Yeah.
The full house for Casemiro against Nottingham Forest at the weekend. 2 shots on target, 77 passes, 5 tackles, 1. Also shots for Fernandes and Anthony, and a tackle tier for Wan-Bissaka.
Same price as Declan Rice's Casemiro.
Lisandro Martinez, 77 passes as well. Shouldn't be too surprised about that against Forest, who we speak about often, the lowest possession
10-man
team
Forest
in the league, basically. And yes, the red card with roughly 20 minutes or so to go wouldn't have helped. Rafael Varane went off injured at half-time, was on 52 passes at half-time, Suj. A real blow to those who will own, and I'm sure there are a few who would have obviously got good returns against Wolves on the first Monday night game. There is speculation this morning that he's looking at a prolonged absence of roughly around about 6 weeks. There's also been some speculation in the last 24 hours that Luke Shaw might be out till December, is the latest word that's being rumoured. Apparently he's got muscle problems which link back to his old broken leg injury, which is a little bit concerning. And has possibly been advised not to be involved in contact sport for a while. So hopefully he's all right and stuff. But that's obviously going to be a headache for United defensive owners. Obviously, there'll be people on Onana. I don't think that's a panic at all. There's good fixtures once you get beyond, the Arsenal and Brighton games. Talking of which, as said, Lewis Dunk having 18 passes, also 100 for Webster, 97 for Pascal Gross, who also had 4 shots on target. Billy Gilmore just got into tier 1 passes with 61, and so did Purvis Estupinan. But Verbruggen played in goal. God knows if that will stick, but we think Alphonse Areola will stick. Suj, 9 saves. As said to you on yesterday's show, Suj, Said Benrahma, despite coming on 6 minutes before half-time, completed the most passes for West Ham with 25. James Ward-Prowse completed 21. My favourite one, I think, is Kurt Zouma on 5. Gives you an idea. I mean, that's considering you don't just hoof it from goal kicks. It's quite,
I'm looking at
quite something.
Literally no tiers other than Bowen and Antonio's shot tiers, and that's literally because
James Ward-Prowse,
and that's literally because they scored a goal each as well.
Any thoughts on JWP for this, Suj? Because you're probably not going to get passing tier for him, but you've got absolutely animals at set pieces and his delivery.
Million. Would you rather Rice Casemiro at 8.1 than Ward-Prowse at 8.4? Then that answers your question.
But then Ward-Prowse, unlike those others, is possibly going to give me some captaincy at some point, maybe. Although it's worth saying
it's a bit far down
it's
the road.
not on the calendar at the moment. Although people go, what about this Friday? I mean, would you go for James Ward-Prowse and just get him in for Friday?
You'd be looking only if you were looking to set and forget and hold for a long period of time. I wouldn't be dipping in, dipping out. No. And
to be totally honest, I'd still rather, particularly for a fixture like that, I'd rather pay the 0.4 for Jared Bowen.
Correct.
Burnley. So there's some interesting stuff here, and I did allude to it a little bit on yesterday's podcast. All of Burnley's 4 defenders in the passing. New signing Hannes de Croo, who played left back, 82. O'Shea, who played centre-back, 101. Alderkill, 69. And Connor Roberts, who played right back, but inverts into midfield, or certainly at least did do on Sunday, 70 passes as well. These guys will, I feel almost certain, hit passing tier when they play that single game day at Nottingham Forest. One note of caution on that is Jordan Bayer is out injured. He's expected back in game week 5, which is obviously that includes that Monday night fixture at Nottingham Forest. But of course you will see the team, but it might be one that's enough to scare you off. O'Shea, obviously, 101 passes against Aston Villa is no joke. I know they're losing a lot of the game there, but that's not a joke, 101 passes. He's 6.7. The annoying thing with Burnley is what comes afterwards. So you buy for Nottingham Forest away, but then there's Manchester United at home, Newcastle away, Chelsea at home, Brentford away. The good news is you can skip off, you can sell after any one of them because they're always the first game of the match week. Almost common, yeah, always a Saturday. So you can come off. He's probably, arguably, for that Monday night fixture, might be, and we'll obviously talk about it in the week before, might be the best captaincy for that. Especially if you do think they can keep a clean sheet at Forest. Yeah. But we're not going to have anything beforehand that really gives us the clue, if you will, because City, Villa, and then Tottenham this Saturday is a tough start for them, and we won't have seen them play away from home. But I would bet that they'll hit the passing tiers at Forest. And at that price, you could make a call and say, well, if you can get me the 20 points at Nottingham Forest and get me the 10 times 2, and at that price, I'm not bothered what he does in the other fixtures and just leave it. It's something to consider there. Perhaps those as well, perhaps want a little bit more time on Nakamba, for example, and don't know where to go with it this week, or maybe don't have the money in the bank. It could be go, right, do the international break, have Nakamba for Fulham away, and I genuinely think that's a really decent shout for that Monday night game at Nottingham Forest. Okay. Josh Cullen was also in the passes, 63 as well. Villa tackles for Konsa. Matty Cash, 3 shots on target. OOP played right at midfield. I don't know if that's going to stick. Could be fun, particularly for other fantasy formats if he does. Ollie Watkins did hit shot here for Manchester City.
No love for Matty Cash. 7.7, I think he is.
Nah, I don't know if it sticks, Suj.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. And just because 8.1 seems to be the price of the moment, Diaby is 8.1 alongside Declan Rice and Casemiro.
Yeah, I'd prefer just to go. You can get that stuck. Oh, Cash might be OOP. Yeah, well, so's Diaby basically.
I think Diaby is interesting for me for like the 24th or even
with yeah. I'd arguably say later, to be honest. So
sorry, the Chelsea game is the 24th, or Wolves on the 8th of October.
Yeah, so
from Wolves, it's Wolves, West Ham, Luton, Forest, Fulham.
That's the one.
I'll have that run. Thank you very much.
It's there. Yeah, that's it for Villa, I think. So if you went, say, a cash, you're looking at Liverpool, Palace, Chelsea, Brighton. Like, what's the expectations here, really? Mm-hmm. And he's not going to get you passing tier or anything like. Okay, it might be a shot tier or a tackle tier in here. Yeah, Villa should be absolutely on radar for either Sunday the 8th of October or Sunday 22nd. Obviously, the Villa West Ham game Sunday the 22nd, so it will become a single game day if Manchester United play on the Tuesday in the Champions League afterwards. And then with that one as well, you've got Luton at home, Forest away, Fulham at home afterwards. And Villa, because of European football, we obviously have to assume that they won't lose 5-0 tomorrow night. Will be regular possible entry points as they'll often play on a Sunday, right? But there's a really good run of fixtures for them from that point onwards. Manchester City, League One, Wes Fodringham, 7 saves, very well done. Some great little Sheffield United passing numbers here as well. Will Schuler played 71 minutes, 3 completed passes. Baldock, 71 minutes played, 6 passes completed, right wing back, Suj. Fodringham actually completed the most passes for Sheffield United in the game with 20.
Goalkeeper.
Yes, the goalkeeper. Now it's probably just knocking it out into the wide position as well. 90 for Gvardiol, 79 for Aki, 108 for Ruben Diaz, 68 for Walker, 67 for Kovacic, 114 for Rodri, which obviously included a shot here as well with his 2nd goal of the season. 3 shots on target for Alvarez and Haaland. Obviously, Haaland should have been 4. And of course, Haaland scores the penalty. We're talking about different total here and a potential haul as well. It's worth saying Haaland only completed 6 passes in the game, Such. On a note on that, with City, they didn't move anybody from their defensive line into midfield during the game. So they built up more in the back three, of which Nathan Ake sat in the middle of that, with Gvardiol, who basically played left back but sat to the left of that. And Ruben Diaz moved to the right of that, and they pushed Kyle Walker further up the field. Interestingly, with a game of this much domination, the wide centre-backs had more of the ball. I'm not convinced that'll always be the case, but I also think that the way they set up means that if he wants to bring Akanji back in and do what he did in the Seville and Newcastle games and move Akanji into midfield, Gvardiol, I think, stays in rather than Ake. And I probably have that wrong because I bought Gvardiol. Newcastle and Liverpool is passing tier for Botman, Share and Trippier, tier 2, and also Gomes, tier 1. That's obviously heavily influenced by the fact Liverpool played for an hour with 10 men. Anthony Gordon, shot tier, Suj. And you know what? We mentioned this good run that Newcastle have. You went looking for his price instantly, didn't you? 7.8. One to keep an eye, he's playing really well. Really well. Newcastle fans are really happy with the way he's playing. 7 saves for Alisson, Suj. You don't get anything extra for that. Darwin Núñez obviously shot tier as a substitute. And that's your roundup of some of the interesting tier points for the weekend.
Not interested in Anthony Gordon, just saying.
Okay. That might be a cheeky little punt, honestly, for that Sheffield United to Palace, little 4v2 over a few. Just saying.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think it'll be Isak or Wilson or Pope for me. Just go with one of the big guns.
Okay.
We got a few questions in on
don't
Twitter,
think I'll be buying Anthony Gordon either, but okay.
And let's rattle through some of these, because some of these are quite easy. Is Friday's game a skip?
Oh, have we got hard
if
ones?
You don't own.
Can we have the hard ones, please?
Nah. A few people asking about whether or not it's worth getting Bowen in as a punt for Friday. I'd say no, but a lot of people want a daisy chain and saying who's the best replacement to go to after Friday night.
Yeah,
City defender?
It's costing you 2 transfers to do it.
Yeah, I don't think you should do it. But say you own Bowen and you want to come off after
Friday.
Friday.
You want to get him straight off. So it's costing you 2 transfers. How much does he need to score on Friday night for that to be worthwhile? 2 transfers. He's got to get 2 attacking returns.
What if you already own him? Where would you go from him?
If you're buying him Friday and selling him Saturday, I think you need him to get 2 attacking returns Friday night.
Where would you go if you already own him?
Where would I go if I already owned him?
City defender?
I'll tell you what, Maddison at a not too dissimilar value could be a really cheeky differential on a Saturday. I'm not sure I would be in a rush to necessarily
sell it.
Bin that. It depends what you need and requirements for other players. I mean, to be honest,
it is hard to give advice without knowing the full team.
The sensible answer here probably is back in for more Chelsea.
Yeah.
In that circumstance.
Max is playing Sky for the first time. How do I know if I'm doing well? He's got no idea. And Nathan says, how do you check your overall rank in Sky? It's my first season playing. Is it better to save as many transfers for the second half of the season? It's definitely better to save transfers to the second half of the season, but not like loads. No. I think the thing is, in terms of how do I know if I'm doing well, right now you can't. I think after Christmas, after the first overhaul, becomes a bit easier because you can judge how far you are off the top 100 and then look at how many transfers you have more than people in the top 100 and do a simple bit of maths. I was always looking to try and be 10 points a transfer within touching distance of top 100. But right now, it's just way, way, way too early.
Yeah, I mean, part of the reason for me going in quite heavy on City as well is, and I obviously listen, very conscious that in my position last year I spent transfers earlier than I would normally do and more than I would have liked. And obviously there's a consciousness, I did this last year, it didn't work. But what did I always say to you last year? If the opportunity arose again, I'd probably do it again and I might get punished again. But also what convinced me to do it was I don't think I'm doing a lot with the team now. Yeah, if injuries happen and stuff, but I could foresee me getting up to kind of as far as that Villa-West Ham single game day, October 22nd. I might only use 2 transfers between now and then. And one of them's likely to be Basuma Saturday.
I mean, I've used more than I would have.
The other for the record is probably Awoniyi. I don't see me doing a lot else.
5 in the first half of last season, maybe 6 or 7 most before the World Cup, and I've already used 4. So, but I had a few problems.
Ideally save, but when an opportunity comes up like this, my take was there's a massive opportunity here to steam into Manchester City, and like I said, having Mohamed Salah and Thiago Silva in place meant that I was covered pretty much on all the captaincy. And I'd be happy with those are best choice. When I look forward through the future game weeks, I look at, right, best choice this Saturday, Haaland, Sunday, Salah, following week, Haaland Saturday, Thiago Silva Sunday, Nottingham Forest the Monday. The following weekend, Haaland Saturday, Salah the Sunday. Following weekend, Haaland Saturday, I've got Awoniyi the Sunday, Thiago Silva the Monday. The following week, the Saturday, Tottenham go to Luton, that's October the 7th. Arguably, you'd say Tottenham. But I'm definitely going to have investment in Chelsea because they've just played the Monday night at Fulham. Is Chelsea away to Burnley bad? No. Then there's Haaland on the Sunday. Following week, it's Salah on the Saturday. Liverpool at home to Everton in the lunchtime kickoff. Then I need to add something.
I think I'll be using
That's
five
a long
or
period.
6 between now and December. FPL face-off, Tom, with the last question of the show, but kind of a bit more context around that. Says there are 50 transfers available to us.
Yep.
Not including, obviously, the overhaul period. There are 35 active game weeks in Sky, and I'm not sure if he's factored out the 1 week where we have the overhaul as well, because you don't use any transfers in that week. So we should be able to average 3 transfers every 2 game weeks. Do you think that's too many to use at the start? Probably 3 every 2. Like, if you get to Christmas and there's 15, 18 game weeks gone, and you've used half, let's say 20, 25, half your transfers, probably too many. But I think going 38 to 40 at the turn of the year is reasonable, if not a lot, to be fair.
Yeah, I was 29 at overhaul last year?
I was 42.
I was quite low compared to many others.
Yeah, there were plenty in the late 30s, early 40s.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You was on like 43 or
42,
something.
I think I had when we came out of overhaul, something like that.
Did you? You didn't even use them all in the end, did you?
No, I did. I did
You
use
sure?
them all in the end. I did indeed. Finished I don't even remember, 300 and something maybe.
Well done, Suj.
There we go. That's a wrap of Sky Fantasy Football for this week, James. Tomorrow is deadline day again, so you've got all your streams, deadline streams.
It's not. It's Wednesday today. I don't even... It's a bank holiday this week, so God knows how you've got that wrong.
And I'm off on the Friday to go to York. Thank you for the patron that sent me a restaurant recommendation up there. Anybody else that wants to tell me what to do when I go to York, let me know. It's thrown my week completely, James. It's Thursday, Wednesday.
It's Thursday.
There's no deadline tomorrow.
We also always...
Thursday tomorrow.
We also always do Sky Fantasy Football Pods on a Wednesday.
And on Friday, there will be streams before the deadline.
No. What did you say we're doing tomorrow?
Tomorrow you're doing, for patrons, you're doing the transfer window show with Clayton, and you have Clash of the Correspondents tomorrow.
No, so I'm doing an Arsenal stream at 12 o'clock tomorrow. Clash of Correspondents out on Friday.
Right.
This week.
Understood. There we go.
It's
Keeping up to date with the content,
it's good job I do the schedule, isn't it?
It's, so much to keep up with. Thank you so much for your support. Stay safe. Look after yourselves. Ciao for now.
Thanks, everyone. As always, play it your way. Best of luck. Cue music, please, man child.
Pow.
I wish you'd look at that fucking schedule.
I have no idea what's happening. I just know transfer window show. Oh, this guy is here. Cool. Right, about to go and interview someone.
All right, good luck.
I need to catch up with Shams real quickly first.